There we go. Whoops, yeah, apparently I completely screwed up and had this listed as unlisted. I think I know what I did because I was trying to test the GoPro last night and I had that one as unlisted because no one needed to see, like I think I got it like aimed at my carpet or something while I tested, so I think I just forgot to fix that. So let's see if audio and everything, let me refresh this really quick. Make sure everything's going. There we go. Yep, there is audio. Okay, so let's see. Here and see. Okay, good. We are ready then. Let me pull this guy up so I can, whoops, see your guys' questions and stuff. And, or my computer can just freeze up, so that's kind of awesome. Come on. There we go. There it is. Gonna shrink that just a bit. We are good. Okay, so this video is sponsored by Smart Art Box. And just to go over all of that stuff first, if you're unfamiliar with Smart Art Box, it is a monthly subscription box where every month they send you a box full of full-sized art supplies, or in this case, office supplies. Not my favorite month. Every month you get something totally different. Sometimes it's going to be a month that's like awesome. Like last month I loved because I got to try out a supply like those oil painting markers that I never would have even considered. They taught you how to use it. It was just such a cool box. And then sometimes you get boxes. This is probably my least favorite of any box in all the years I've been doing these with Smart Art Box. I wasn't impressed. Funny though, because I'll probably get more use out of these supplies than most every other Smart Art Box I've had because I love office supplies, but they're office supplies. I don't feel like this is an art box at all. So, yeah, I actually looked up the materials too, because when I first saw it, I'm like, this is weirdly, like I normally don't add up how much it would cost to buy all these things individually, but the reason that this paper here, which I do not recommend you go out and buy this paper, by the way, it's terrible, and I'll explain why in a minute. This paper, it's by Art Alternatives, and they make some okay art supplies. I actually like some of the stuff that they make. This one, they took a journal and wrapped canvas around it, and it's like the most thin like this paper is okay for taking notes and like quick sketches, I think even with a graphite pencil, but with the pens, these pens, it's not a good combination because it was soaking right through the paper. So I wasn't really thrilled with that. This paper too, when you look at it on Amazon, it was $20 for this pad, which is weird to me. Like if it was a $5 pad, I'd be like, okay, it's cool, but it was just kind of odd. So I just want to throw that out there. I know a lot of people had complained when they got this box. I'm with you on that one. I am not feeling this month's box at all. So let's go ahead and get started because it is something that will be kind of fun, I think, to have for my office supplies. So I started on this with a couple of sketches, but I did end up going and doing the front. I was going to do this as a separate art box like recording or like a normal video, and as I kept going, I'm like, these are doodles. Let's just chat and doodle while I do this. It's not I don't know, it just didn't feel like a good normal video without having to chat while we do it. So this, I actually liked how the front of it came out, and the markers and the pens worked really well. If you see this green right in here, I tried this with Inktense first because I thought Inktense would be better for this canvas. I was wrong. The Inktense was actually bleeding like crazy on this canvas. This stuff is like roll cottony that just, I don't know, bled all over. So I used the markers and the pens that it came with, and it's really pretty. I actually did like how that came out, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just wanted like a little design. So that was pretty. The other thing that made me think this was not intended for art is the fact that the top says thoughts and musings by. It's like, this is I don't know, that's what you get in those like, those lined, the sketch pads, or not sketch pads, the lined pads, and it has like, the outside of it is black and blotchy with black and white. I don't know if you guys know those ones I'm talking about. And I don't know, this doesn't feel like art to me, even though it says Art Alternatives. Art Alternatives has failed me this time. The cover's beautiful. I love the cover. And I will use this, but I'm going to use it for like when I'm making videos, I have to make notes. Okay, I've got to go put a link here. I've got to do that here. That's what I'm going to end up using this for. So it's technically being used for art, but not as intended. Now, the art lesson was for a mandala. I don't like mandalas, so I should throw that out there. It's just they're too precise. Like I get too neurotic about like everything has to be perfect, but I don't like to work that way. So for me, they're not fun. They're supposed to be relaxing. Oh no, they create stress on me. Whereas like something super like photorealistic is not stressful. Mandalas stress me out. They are not calming at all to me. It's too exact. So one of the things they showed you to do on the lesson is to draw these circles. I don't know if you can, let me make sure this shows. Let's see. Yeah, you can see how they've drawn these circles, and this is really a good idea for doing the mandalas. The thing I don't like is they then showed you to break it up into quarters. If I was going to do a mandala, I would recommend do one circle, one ring, then the next ring, and then the next ring. It comes out more even that way, at least in my experience, than trying to do like a piece of a pie is a little bit weird of a way to go with it. Normally, the pencil that it came with, and we'll go over the supplies, but the pencil that they sent is the General's Layout Extra Black. Now, I love this pencil. I actually always keep these on hand. These work really, really well for graphite drawings. They don't erase that well, though, because it's super dark, but this paper, nothing sticks to... this paper is weird. It actually erased really well. So I'm like, okay, that surprised me, because normally, like, if I use this pencil on a watercolor pencil or drawing paper, it does not erase well because it's super dark. It's like a 9B or an 8B. It's a really good pencil, but it's not when I would typically use to do my initial line drawing. Normally I would use like a 4H or one of those, but that was actually pretty cool. I liked how that worked. So they want you to draw the ring. So this was my project that I did. And for me, the mandala felt... I don't know, when doing this, I'm like, this is, and I was drawing it up like at a weird angle, so mine's not exact at all, but it felt to me, it reminded me of algebra in high school where I would do doodles, so I included an algebra problem, and my answer was about like what my answers were in algebra in high school. I was not good at math, so I kind of wanted to just follow along with that theme, so... There's my mandala attempt, and we're not going to bother with that on here. The other thing you want to watch if you are going to use these supplies and do the mandala and you go back and erase, I used a my Tombow mono eraser, or just the square one, not the skinny one. If that's at all wet, and I thought it was dry all the way, you'll get smudges in here. So definitely watch that. As you work, make sure everything is totally dry. Even now I can go through and erase stuff, but it's easy to smudge the ink, but especially these markers. These actually were kind of cool. So anyway, let's go over really quick the supplies that came in this box. So you got the Art Alternatives pad that I was not impressed with that much. I don't know. It surprises me that the Art Alternatives has these listed. Maybe, I don't know, Amazon prices go up and down, so maybe it's not an accurate representation, but I was thinking $20 on Amazon for that? Nope. Okay, so our pens. We've got 2 Pentel Milky Pop. They're pretty colors. Then we've got 2 glittery Pentel pens. We've got 2, I don't know what they're, highlighters I'm calling them. Office supplies, and then we've got, these were actually pretty cool. These are super glittery. Those were what I used all over this guy. And then the pencil, yeah, that was what came in the box. Did not come with the eraser. That is my office supply. So actually that one would have been an art one. So anyway, that just gives you an idea of what this box was. And I do want to show you this paper. One of the things I didn't like, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. See how it went right through? It's just not suitable for these pens. Like, even if you were just writing, things go through this paper. It's really like, I don't know. It's not, I don't think it's suitable for this. So anyway, I am going to, instead of doing another mandala, because that was not enjoyable for me, I want to go ahead and play with like a Zentangle type things, because now those are fun to me. That's a fun doodle. I like Zentangles. So we'll do a couple of those and I will answer your questions as we work. So if you do have a question, make sure that you highlight it. You want to do the Lachri Fine Art. If it doesn't highlight in orange, I won't see it. So yeah, Valerie said they're not actually highlighters. She used the purple and the orange to make patterns for transferring. They just look like highlighters to me. Now keep in mind, I went into it with a bit of a negative attitude because I opened the box and was just surprised to see what I would like typically think to find at Office Max, not at Hobby Lobby. And you can get these at Hobby Lobby. It was just a little weird to me. That it didn't feel like an art box so much. So I've been joking with my husband all week. Like whenever I'm like, I've got my smart office supply box I've got to do this week. So anyway, I am going to do the Zentangles because those are far more interesting to me and we can chat. So I want to start out, I'm going to draw a little turtle first. So when I do these, whenever I do the little doodles, let's draw out a little turtle guy. And I'm just going to start with the general shape of his body and not worry about the inside just yet. I want to get that outside shape. And I don't even care if this is remotely accurate. I just want to get to where you can recognize it as being a turtle. More of a beak on his nose there. Let's see. And I'm just using a reference photo. Like I just looked at, just to get an idea of the turtle shape from, I mean, I know what turtles look like, but just something from Pixabay. And if you are interested in Smart Art Box, I do have the link for all of that in the video description. And normally I enjoy the boxes far more than this one. And it's funny for me to complain so much about it because honestly, I'm going to get a lot of use out of this because I like our office supplies. It just wasn't what I expected from an art box. Kind of a weird perspective I'm giving him here. His head is way too big. His fin is too big. He is not being drawn super well. Let's see. Fin in the background, his little belly. Let's give him his neck. We'll pull it out there. But I was surprised. I mean, this erases really well. And one thing, if you have this box that I think would work well if you wanted to use it for other art things, this pencil and this paper actually work okay together for like quick sketches and stuff. That was a surprise to me just because my experience with this pencil is just that it's normally so dark. Lou asked if I have any tips for me for learning drapery. Drawing from live and or pictures seems like the best option. Other than that, what do you mean drapery? Learning drapery? Learning to draw drapery? I'm not sure. I don't know. Wait, I need more information for that. Any tips for learning drapery? Clarence asks, do you think I will use the oil markers again? Probably, and I'm somewhat tempted to buy more. I was at, I think Michael's had them and the other day when I was in there, and it was like, ooh, I kind of want to get some more colors. It was a set though, it wasn't the individual. If I got it, I'd probably buy the individual colors to add to what I have. But those were surprisingly, like, seriously fun. And because so many of them were light fast, that would be, I don't know, that was just a lot of fun. So yeah, there is a chance. I don't know for certain. We'll see if I ever get around to it. There's a lot of mediums I want to use, but I really did have fun with those. I think part of why I had so much fun with them too is it was a surprise to me. I didn't expect to like those at all. So once I started using them and realized how well they blended, it was like, oh my gosh, these are absolutely awesome. Okay, I'm going to use that as my general outline. It's not accurate at all. I don't want to waste time on that. But yeah, there's a very good chance that I will. Sorry, drapery, my bad. Drawing drapery. Okay, there we go, Lou. For drawing drapery, it's all in the shadows. So actually, this is kind of cool. This sketchbook may be good for the live stream because I can actually kind of show you ideas. When you draw them, it's shadows. So you're going to have lines. I mean, let's say it's tied here. You're going to have shadows in here. So it's really, I need a shading tool would make this easier. Those shadows are really how you're going to get your highlights, where it curves up, falls in a shadow, comes back up where the light's hitting, falls back in a shadow. But those lines, or those shadows, it's not, don't draw it like, you know, we're saying it's tied, there's a curtain or whatever, and then it would come back out. Don't just draw lines. That won't work. That's more of a cartoon, but look at the shadows. Highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow. Let's pull some of that out, actually. But it's those shadows on the inside, and then you can go more in depth where it's fading. I mean, really look. Yeah, get a reference photo for sure, and just copy what you see. But focus on the shadows, not the lines. I think in that case, because a lot of times we think drawing and we think lines, but when you're working on certain fabrics like that, it's not lines, it's shadows, highlights and shadows. Oops, there we go. Went too far. Gloria really likes Zentangles. Yeah, they seem more interesting. I don't know. They seem fun to me. They're just so free. Like, that doesn't feel as precise as a mandala. Like, that's why I think mandalas don't draw, like, they don't seem that interesting to me. Like, they're just too, I don't like the precision. Like, I'm okay with being accurate, but I don't like the, it's not even the precision. It's the repetitiveness, that everything has to be exactly the same in order for me to like it, and I don't like working that way. Am I planning to do more pan pastel pieces with colored pencil? Absolutely. And actually that video, when does that one go up? It'll be a couple of weeks. I've got a couple of videos before it. But yeah, no, that's definitely going to be one you'll see me doing a lot more. I loved them. Like that was such an enjoyable project. So yeah, I guarantee you there will be more of those. Okay, let's see. What else does he need? Maybe a line here for the shell. This will be his little fin. That is not how that goes. Let's change how that fin is. Let's see. Tom said, I'm a beginner in oil painting. Question, under what circumstances do you dip your brush in linseed oil when you paint? And when do you have a reason to dip your brush in OMS? When painting with oil painting, the only reason I personally use OMS is when I'm cleaning my brushes. Other than that, I always go with it. I don't use linseed oil, I use liquid, but it's the same concept. It's your mixing medium. I don't thin my paint with odorless mineral spirits at all. There are a couple of, I should take that back. There are a couple of techniques that I will sometimes, but not often. And that is when I'm trying to, certain textures that I do, and it's been a long time since I even needed to for different textures, I mostly just use OMS. So that is not super helpful for it. Well, I guess it's kind of helpful. It's that I just don't dip my brush unless I'm cleaning it with OMS. Some people do. I don't. Thanks, Marcel. Donna said, hi, Lisa, do you ever just give up on a painting and pitch it? Thanks for advance for answering my question. I so look forward to live streams. No, I try to finish it. Now, I may, like, paint over parts and start it again, but I generally really try to finish everything. I don't like to just start... I'm just going to start making shapes in there. These aren't really how the fin would be. But I don't like to start over. I like to try and make it work. The only times that I've really done that where I started over were, I mean, it's been years. I definitely, there was one I painted over maybe, I'm trying to think which painting that was. That may have even been before YouTube. So yeah, it was before YouTube. So that one was probably, 8 years ago. It's been a long time. I try to make myself finish everything. What is my phone doing? Get his little thin guys. So some of this is kind of like what a turtle would have. I'm kind of going with the lines that would be there, and then I'm also just kind of making some up as I go along. But no, I mean, you're going to be tempted to quit. Like at every single painting I ever make, there's a point where I think I'm not going to be able to pull this off. I absolutely failed at this one. I should just start over. Don't let yourself do that. Figure out how to work with those mistakes, because it's too easy, I think, to get in the habit of doing that every single time. At least for me, knowing that every single time I'm going to feel that way, then I need to work through it and finish it. Probably making some of these smaller than what I really want. His fit is like abnormally large, whatever. You can tell it's a sea turtle. I'm happy with that. Okay, I'm not even going to do the markings over here so much. I'm going to go bigger just because I'm not going to be able to get shapes in something that small. Probably should have drawn this bigger. And let's give him some little marks around his head. Probably just going to start freehanding all of that in. Okay, he's good. Let's start doodling. This is the fun part to me. But yeah, try not to get in the hang of just giving up. It's too easy to do that all the time. Let's scroll too far. Hold on one second. Life of Toasty QT said, any tips on blending acrylics? Get an airbrush. And you don't have to get an expensive airbrush. Just get a cheap little Badger hobby kit. I've got a link to it, I think, on my website under the acrylic art supplies. And mist water, you can keep it wet for as long as you want. That would be my biggest tip. The other is when you're first starting, if you're trying to do things that are detailed, don't go too big, work maybe an 8 by 10, 11 by 14. If you go too big, like it's hard to blend acrylics, and when you're going bigger, it makes it even harder. So work on studies instead of just jumping straight into trying to drawing and talking at the same time. You're going to hear a lot of ums from me tonight when my brain shuts down. But try to do like a study, like one apple, not the whole apple tree. I think that makes it a little easier to get control of the acrylics and really learn what you're doing with it. This isn't really black. I don't know if you can see it in person, but it's like a deep burgundy. It's actually a really pretty pen. Let's see. Do I want to... Sure, let's just outline all of him with this one, and then I'll erase the pencil and start doing designs inside that way. But yeah, work a little bit smaller. Work on a smooth canvas. That's another big thing. If you're working on detail, especially with acrylics, it's oil can get away with the rougher canvas a bit, but not as much. You know, acrylics is definitely going to be better for you. You're going to have a more enjoyable time, I think, if you go ahead and work on a really smooth surface. If it's too rough, it's just too hard to blend. Acrylics are hard to blend anyway, so you add in a rough canvas on top of that, not a good fit. So that would be my other tip for you. Clarice said, what do you think your next project will be? Oh, I'm already working on it. It's actually an airbrush, and it looks terrible right now. Here, I'll show you. It's at the super fuzzy stage. Can you see? That's like one corner of the rose. It's at the fuzzy rose stage. But here we go. Maybe you can see back here. But I'm working on this guy. It was one of our Patreon reference photos. I need to get this month's group challenge for Patreon up still. But it's that I'm having fun with. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I have a new airbrush that I'm using, like testing on this. So now I have to go through. There's a few ways on the airbrush that you can smooth lines out. One is using certain stencils. One is with a finer needle. And then I can also go through with colored pencil. I haven't decided which way I'm going to go on that. But that is what my next project is that I'm currently working on. I'm having a lot of fun with that one. Because I don't normally do things that are almost all airbrush. I usually just use the airbrush for special effects for the background and don't bother with detail. So this is a bit different than what you've seen me do before. So lots of fun, but that's what my next one is. Paul said, I'm prone to procrastination when it comes to art. Do you have any tips for powering through getting work done even when you're feeling not so inspired? Yes, I like to set deadlines and goals for myself. Otherwise, I don't get anything done. So I'll sit down and go, okay, tonight, and I try to do that for every day. I don't set it out like a week in advance. Usually I set it down by night. Like, okay, for tomorrow, like I'm going to bed tomorrow, I need to get this, and this done. And then when I get to the art section, or when I start working on art, I'm going to work on it from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. I'm going to sit there, and this is what I hope to accomplish that day. I don't know why. That really works for me, having these deadlines and these goals that I have to meet. If I don't, it's too easy to be like, I'm just going to read a book tonight. I don't feel like working. I don't know why I drew those lines. I'm not even going over them. I'm making up my own ones as I go. But, that one is a big, like, that really makes a difference for me if I can have those preset, this is what I'm going to get done tonight. Audiobooks are a big one for me. If I can listen to an audiobook, that will get me to sit still a lot longer than normal, or listening to different music, like something that I know I like, that maybe I used to like when I was younger and haven't listened to in a long time. That really works for me too. But setting goals, I think, is just a big deal. And YouTube was such a good thing for me, because once I got on a schedule and had an actual, like, I need to have certain things done on certain days because I wanted a new video up every Wednesday at the time. I don't do that anymore. But, well, I guess I do the live streams every Wednesday. But that forced me to, like, stick to a schedule. And when I started doing that, I was able to get so much more done than what I used to. But yeah, that schedule made all the difference in the world. Or trying to stick to one, setting goals really works for me. Ellie said, would you say that you prefer pan pastels or pencils and powder blender for soft backgrounds? That's a hard one. I feel like as I'm working, at least right now, I feel like I have more control with powder blender and colored pencil. But pan pastels, I can see ending up, like, I think it's faster. Pan pastels, like, I think it depends on what you're looking to create. It's harder to control a lot with the pan pastels, just because you're working with bigger tools versus a pencil. So that's going to be a difference. But I can lay, like, that background was so fast. I mean, powder blender is very fast, but the pan pastels, I think that I'm going to end up being faster with those. Now, I think one of the things that'll be a big difference for people when they decide which to use, if you're using both, like, for different projects, is sometimes if you're entering a competition, you can only use colored pencil, like a colored CPSA, the Colored Pencil Society of America. You can't use pan pastels unless you're in the mixed media part of the whatever. I'm just starting to create some of the designs. This is not what a sea turtle would have there. I am aware before someone corrects me. But you can't just you can't use mixed media in some of those competitions. So in that case, the powder blender would be the way to go. But it depends. I mean, right now they get different results, and it's a different process. So I think for me, largely it'll be what mood I'm in. Like, which do I feel like working on tonight? They definitely both have things I absolutely love about them. But I still feel like the colored pencil with powder blender is a bit easier to control, which is natural. I mean, you're talking about a difference of a soft tool with the sponge versus a pencil with a point. So there's that. Also, I think that the pan pastels were a little bit less messy than what I've typically done when I work with powder blender. So that's kind of an added bonus with those. Okay, let's start adding designs. Actually, I'm going to let that dry for a second, and then we'll go back and add designs. That's the fun part with these to me. Like, you get to, I don't know, just the doodle factor. That's why I did the thing with the algebra problem. I'm like, this feels like algebra to me, where I would sit and doodle, because obviously the math made no sense to me. Yeah, doodling helped. But that's what I would do in algebra while I waited to go home and try to spend the next 8 hours figuring out my homework, because it made no sense in class. Or, I didn't see back, some of you kids wouldn't remember this, but those of you who are, you know, closer to my age, we used to sit on the phone, and we didn't have like a cell phone to sit and play games on or look at Facebook or whatever when you had a conversation with somebody. We didn't have texts, so you would just sit and talk on the phone, and sometimes it got boring, and you would just take pen and doodle on paper next to you as you chatted. So that's what mandalas and Zentangles feel like to me. Rachel said, what do you do when someone gives you a reference photo for a commission piece, but the photo is awful? Like, the lighting is dark, the person is turned away, they want that fixed. I tell them no. Well, it depends. I mean, I think you have to know what you're able to do. Like, are you going to be able to work with that? But most of the time, no. Like, if you see my stuff that's like super realistic, looks like a photograph, or, you know, close to, you're not going to get that from a crappy photo. You're just not. So I can do impressionism with that. I can do pop art with a bad photo. I cannot do a photorealistic piece from a crappy photo. Like, it just doesn't happen. And I let people know I can't. And if you lose the commission, you lose the commission. But it's better than having someone angry because they gave you a bad photo, but it expected it to look like your best artwork that was done with a good photo. They think that you can just do that magically. I had one woman who ended up being one of the worst clients. I had to fire her, and won't speak to that one. She was blocked on everything after some other. Sometimes you get some people. Almost every client I've had was amazing. I've had like 2 bad ones. But this one I had to, like, it was bad enough I had to like cut all contact, like, you cannot talk to me anymore. But she would come to me with photos that were just terrible, and I'd be like, I can't work from that. And it was just honest with her up front, and she would get mad at me. No, I know you can do it. And I'm like, I'm telling you that I cannot. Like, trust me, you're not going to be happy with this. It was yeah, that was a frustrating time. But yeah, that was not fun. I think it's important, though, as the artist, you need to be upfront and tell people. And this is a story that I tell people all the time. I'm probably going to smudge this. I hope I don't. Is it dry all the way? I always tell people this. I think I say this and tell this story in like every live stream. But back in the days of forums, there was an artist who did really, she did worked from a photo that was amazing. I mean, the photo was taken by someone that was a photographer, you know, had the DSLR and the good cameras and everything. Beautiful photo, beautiful lighting. Everything was amazing. She did it in colored pencil, and it was jaw-droppingly gorgeous, her artwork. Then my friend was like, wow, that's so amazing. I want you to draw, I want to have that same style done with my dog. So here's a really bad reference photo that the artist should have been the one to say, I cannot make that look like what you're expecting. It won't happen. But she didn't. She accepted the photo. She took the money. She painted it. It looked horrible. It looked like what you would expect from a photo. I mean, my friend gave her a photo. The dogs were across the room sitting on the couch in the dark. You're not going to get the same what you're expecting. So, but my friend's not an artist. She wouldn't, it wasn't her job to know that. It was the job of the artist to say, I can't do it. You're not going to get what you expect. So that, I think it's just really honest, or better if you're honest about that. And my friend was really upset. Like, she was mad because she wasn't expecting, like, she had to pay for it and she was not expecting those results. So that, I think, is just really important, that you're upfront with your clients so that you don't have them. It's better to make them mad by telling them no than to make them mad by taking their money and not giving them what they were expecting to get. I don't know if you guys can see this, that glittery, like, it's such a pretty pen. I've already used up so much of it coloring the outside of my thing. But don't, I mean, as an artist, if you have to turn someone away because they can't provide you with a photo that you know you could make them, you know, you're not going to make them happy, then turn them away. Don't accept it just to accept everything. Chris said, what set of pastels do you recommend to start with? Well, the only pastels I like right now are pan pastels, and they have their set of 20. I don't know where I put my box, but their like basic set of 20 was wonderful. I really, really liked those. I don't use other pastels otherwise, so maybe some other people can give you advice on what they liked. But I loved the pan pastels. Those were definitely a good fit for me. Whoops. Scrolled way too far. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, let's see. Wow, I missed a bunch of questions. Hold on. Scrolling up. Let's see. Hi, Autumn. Wow, I'm missing a bunch of questions. I'm like still scrolling and keep finding more. Let's see if I can go through some of these questions a little faster. Okay, got that one. Got that one. Art Mania said, I've just got a new airbrush. Any advice on what my first project should be? Your first project should be learning dagger strokes, dots, and lines, and just learning control of it. Like, I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to practice shading that circle and getting it smooth. Like, just practice. I wouldn't even start with a project. I would start just practicing control. Airbrush is a little bit different, where normally I'll jump into a project. That one, I like to just have people start by, like, I'm going to draw a circle and practice keeping my shadow inside the circle, or my shadows where I want it on the outside of the sphere. Those sorts of things are what I think you should start with. And I wouldn't necessarily even worry about jumping into to using a bunch of colors. I think you are perfectly fine with, when you're first starting, just like black and white, or just black. So I'm just making little shapes inside of here. Little doodles. These are not straight lines at all. I probably should have gotten a ruler if I wanted to do straight lines. It's almost like a quilt piece to me. Like, that's what my mind sees, is a kind of a quilt of patterns and shapes and cute little designs inside of these. Chelsea said, how do you give give underwater scenes more depth? My image is looking a little flat. I'm using watercolor. You want to make sure whatever is farther away is like more faded out. Don't put a bunch of detail on what's in the back. And I usually will make things darker in the distance, and they get lighter and lighter and lighter as they come forward and are in more clear. Like, if I have a yellow fish in the foreground and I want that yellow fish in the distance, I can't just make him smaller. I also have to make him just more blue, like almost all blue if he's tiny in the distance, like an outline and a silhouette. If you can get variation like that, that'll make a big difference in getting depth. Let's see. Donna said, I just got a very basic airbrush for makeup paint, temporary tattoos from Amazon with mini compressor for $45 Canadian, and it works great for water to keep my palette wet. Yeah, see, just for spraying water. And the nice thing is, like, one of the reasons that a lot of the cheap airbrushes, people have problems with them, is that when you take them apart to clean them, that's when they break. That's what the main huge problem with the cheap airbrushes are. If you're just using it for water, you don't have to take it apart to clean it. So you can get away with the really cheap ones. So that's cool. Sarah said, I just noticed that you changed your thumbnail design to include the goldfish. Do you think having Lachri alongside don't, Sarah, text speak. It makes it hard for me. I can't read the text speak. You got to write out whole words for me. Do you think it's your TNS in any way helped you be successful as you are? I am not even going to try to translate that too heavily and just, I'm going to make an assumption of what you're trying to say there. No text speak for me, Sarah. I'm too old for that. It just, my brain doesn't translate it. Do you think using Lachri aside my thumbnail design has been that way for, I don't know, for the better part of the last year. I don't know. I mean, with a brand, it's just something that people recognize is helpful, but I don't know that it's like, what do I want to do for this one? We'll do little circles. I don't know that it's helped. It hasn't hurt, that's for sure. I mean, you've got some artists like Lena Dania is a great example. Lena uses her face, and that's what a lot of people will recommend is use your face for your avatar and stuff like that. She doesn't do that on her thumbnails, but I mean, she does on her avatar. Is that she doesn't have like the logo of the goldfish, and her channel does better than mine. So I don't know that it's necessarily necessary, like it's really necessary. I didn't even plan on having a logo. That just kind of happened because people assumed, I kept putting the goldfish on everything and people thought it was my logo. I'm like, okay, it can be my logo now. And now it is. I don't know that it like made that big of a difference for me. I don't think it hurt. So it's one of those, I don't know. I mean, there are people who have logos and they do great and don't, and I don't know that that's necessarily the deciding factor on whether or not someone does well or not. I like having a logo because I like being able to stamp that on things, but it's more for my own fun. For an artist, I don't know how necessary it is, honestly. I think having a name that people recognize is much more important than a logo, like than the goldfish. The goldfish are just, I don't know, they're fun, and I like to put them all over my website, and it makes it recognizable, but I don't know how necessary it is. Chris J said, what animal is most challenging for you to draw or paint? It's all the same. I know that sounds funny, but I mean, it really is all the same for me. If I'm copying lines, I'm looking at a reference photo and copying the lines, the shadows, the highlights. I wouldn't say, I can't think of any of them being harder than another. You know what I do in this one? I don't even know what I should keep doing. I like swirls. Like if I had my way, everything would be a swirl in this world. This is where, see, I have trouble when it comes to the Zentangle stuff because I'm like, what shapes? Let's go. We'll do these like scales or feathers, which don't really look like scales or feathers if you were doing something realistically. But that works. Oh, that's kind of a fun one. My brain just doesn't come up with random designs well. But I don't think I have anything that's more challenging. I mean, certain angles are a little bit more challenging to get the perspective right, but that doesn't seem to really make a difference. I mean, everything is the same. It always makes me laugh when people are like, oh, he really is starting to look like a quilt, isn't he? Or a patchwork quilt. When people are like, well, can you draw this? Can you draw that? I can draw anything. Like, it's all the same to me. I'm looking at a reference and I'm copying what I see. I think that's really the big thing is teaching yourself to copy what you see there. I'm not going to use the yellow on his shell. I don't even like the yellow one that much. Let's do a chevron type pattern or jagged mountains. Like, nothing ever comes out even when I do it. That is not even close to being me and having repetitive motions. Like, it's so, with me, natural to make sure nothing is repetitive. I'll just fill that in. So it's really hard for me to try to make a repetitive pattern. My brain does not work this way. It's a good challenge for me, that's for sure. When I did the other mandala, I kind of had, like, the one that's supposed to actually be a mandala with my algebra problem inside. I felt the same way. I was like, I don't know. By the way, I'm not doing a good Zentangle. If you want to see some impressive Zentangles, just do a Google search or look on Instagram. There are some people that make the most elaborate, insanely amazing, and gorgeous. I'm just doodling tonight. But there are, like, don't take this as, like, this is all Zentangle. There are people who make real ones, like, that I consider real, because mine, I feel like I'm more doodling, that are just phenomenal. Clary said, that looks so good. Are you using paper or canvas board? That one, for the airbrushing, that was the Canson Me 10's art board. It's an actual, like, board, and I like it, except, and I'm going to talk about this when I do the video. It doesn't handle, I used, I don't know if you can see the rip here. I ripped the paper here, here, and here when I used Frisket. Frisket should be fairly low tack, not a fit for this board. Why do I have glitter on this? How in the world did I get glitter on this board? It's not everywhere. Why do I even have glitter? I must have, oh, I bet it's from the pen. There's probably glitter on my hands. Oh, there's glitter on that board. But I'm liking that board, but you have to be careful with it. Frisket, masking fluid would not be a fit for that. I'm pretty sure it would. If Frisket tore it, I'm pretty sure that would. So it's great for airbrushing, but I'm just going to go without the use of that tool moving forward. But yeah, it's the Canson Me 10's art board, and I think that's going to be really good for colored pencil too. I liked it enough, and it wasn't too expensive. The 16 by 20, I got it from dickblick.com, and it was like $3 and something cents per 16 by 20 board. So I got 5 of them, and I already had a few left over. But I think that that's going to be a good fit for colored pencil too. Do I ever work in sketchbooks? I always try, but I don't like working in them, even though I want to. Oh, you sound like me, Steve. That is so, like, so me. I buy sketchbooks because they're fun and they look fancy, and I get all excited. I'm like, yay, I'm gonna do this, and then I don't at all, ever. So I was talking to my friend about that recently. She makes videos she does a lot of sketchbook stuff, and I'm like, I'm always inspired when I see hers, but I never sit down and do it. Like, I just get finished projects done. I was talking to her about it a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I think I'm very tempted to go ahead and, like, make myself finish at least one. So maybe I'll do that with this. Who knows? Maybe I won't turn this into a notes book. Let's see how bad see, this isn't actually leaking too bad onto the other side this time. Maybe just from putting it thick. If you do it quick, it's okay. But, like, when you're filling the bigger shapes, that seems to be when mine went straight through before. I don't know what I want to do next. What shape should I do? Gail said, you are really going to Zentangle in those spaces so small. Well, sort of. I'm going to call this more patchwork quilt art. I'm not doing a good Zentangle. Don't use this, like I said, don't use me as an example. Go look up people who do good jobs with these. They can be really pretty. Weird crazy fan said, do you think it's okay to use Shutterstock photos or iStock as reference as long as it's transformative? They have amazing photos. I wouldn't. I don't recommend it. If you don't have permission to do it, because what your idea of transformative and what the law says is transformative may or may not be the same thing. So, I mean, are you looking at it because you're like, oh, that polar bear has really good texture of the fur, and my reference photo that I do have rights to use does not. So I'm going to look at their photo and transfer that fur texture onto mine. You're okay there. Are you going to use the outline of that polar bear? Nope, done. You're out. You can't do it. I mean, using the Obama Hope poster was such a good example of this, because you could say that was transformative. It wasn't a photorealistic copy of the photograph. It was the outline, the angle of his face. Didn't matter. He still got in trouble for it and had to pay. He paid a lot of money to settle for that. So, I mean, he got in some trouble. To me, it's not even worth the trouble of doing. And even with, here's the thing with Shutterstock and iStock, I don't really recommend most people use them anyway for reference photos, because you can buy the reference photo from them. I've done it before. And then I didn't realize until you look back later on, and I don't sell prints of those because of this, because they, their contract, if you're making artwork out of it, is different than if you're using it for other purposes. They want to charge, like the one that I was talking about too, they were like, well, it depends on how many prints you sell. It depends on this, it depends on that. And the price just kept going up. So it's like, it was a $75 base or something like that to use it. But then depending on what I sold, that was going to make it. It was a huge, like, this isn't even worth the trouble for me. I am not even going to use those photos at all for anything. But I don't recommend, because like I said, what you think is transformative may not be what the law says is transformative. And yeah, you can get into it, but can you afford a good lawyer to argue for you? Maybe you could win, but a lot of that is going to come down to how good your lawyer was. Is it worth it? I don't think it is. It's not worth the trouble to me, honestly. And again, I am not a lawyer, so you can't take me as legal advice. I'm just going by what I've seen and what I'm willing to risk and what I'm not, and I don't think it's worth it. Rachel, that's awesome. You're addicted to pan pastels. Gail says geometry, not algebra. I'm not good at either of them, so it makes no difference to me. To me, it's all math, and I'm bad at it. Let's see. Joseph said, I remember when a phone was a thing that was on the wall in the room. Yeah, and you had a sketch pad that you doodled next to it, right? Let's see. Life of Toasty. QT is all excited because I said their name in the video, so I'll say it again. If that makes you happy, you are the easiest person in the world to please. I like you. Let's see. And yeah, Gail says that thing with a rotary dial. I had one of those too. God, do you guys remember the sound, that like weird sound as you clicked it and went over? And God, if you got to the bottom and it was extra long, oh, those phones were. And then, oh, if you dialed the wrong one on accident and had to hang up and start over, not fun. Eric Draw says you were lucky to have a cell phone. Cell phones didn't exist when I was a kid. Cell phones, I was, I think 21 or 22, I think it was 22 when I got my first cell phone, and it was a brick. It was huge. It weighed a ton. It was a weapon. And I was so excited, and I think I had like 10 minutes a month on that was my plan. Something like crazy. Like you had almost no minutes, and if you went over your minute plan, it was an arm and a leg, so it was basically just to keep in my truck for emergencies. Yeah. And Valerie said, yep, no smartphones. Remember drawing on the phone book? Yep, that too. That's when I started printing the phone books with Doodles. Let's see, Julia said, I'm moving about 14 hours away from where I currently live. Will my artwork be fine in the heat if I pack them in a U-Haul, or should I store them in the air-conditioned truck? Depends on what it is. Some artwork can handle the heat and some can't. Colored pencils, if you're wax and oil-based, the oil-based should be fine. Wax-based, that can start to melt and make some weird, it depends on how, and it's been so hot. Acrylic paint, that may not be super happy about it. I would keep it in the air conditioning as much as possible, just because it is so, well, I don't know where you're at right now, but I know here, like if I had to keep some stuff in the U-Haul in Texas in the heat, stuff might have problems. When I moved from California to Texas, it was a 2-day drive, but it wasn't that hot. Like it's probably in the 80s. Right now we're up into the hundreds, so that would be a bit of an issue. So I guess it depends on how hot it is. But if you can keep it in the airbrush or the air conditioning, that would be ideal. If not, I mean, I want to say it'll probably be okay, but I wouldn't want to risk it. Certain mediums like graphite's not going to be a problem. It depends on the medium. Fine Roman Art said, I have a Redbubble store for selling prints and other merch, and I was wondering what website you would recommend for selling original paintings. I sell them straight from my own. I use, what is my website running? It's WordPress using the Divi theme, and I use WooCommerce is the plugin that I use to sell it from, and then like payments are taken through PayPal, so that's all safe. But that's what I use. There's a lot of different ones. It's just a matter of like how much they're going to charge you to use the product versus not. For me, WooCommerce makes sense because it just works well. Like it integrated really well into my website that I already had. Otherwise, you can put prices on even like Fine Art America, and then people just have to, have to comment, like contact you if they wanted to buy things. I really love these sparkly glittery pens, but now that I'm using them, I'm seeing they are getting on my hands a little bit and on my other things. So I don't know if I'm going to keep that in the art studio when I'm done. I try to avoid glitter. As pretty as it is, it ends up on everything. Well, that doesn't even look like little shapes anymore. Huh. So that was a bad choice. I'm trying to think, website-wise, I mean, Etsy may be a good choice. eBay is where I used to sell stuff. It's funny, you guys talking about the phones. So my sister, we were just talking about this, or I was just talking to my husband about this not too long ago. Actually, last night. My sister got in trouble when we were kids. I don't know if you remember those 800 or 900 numbers. New Kids on the Block had a number you could call and talk to them. And it, to me, I was telling my husband, like, this seemed like such a scam, because obviously it was aimed at kids who wouldn't know better. And it was, you know, the $4 a minute or whatever. And so my sister racked up hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Let me tell you, my parents did not have hundreds of dollars. So luckily they were able to get it taken off the phone bill. My mom had to pay like $20 out of the hundreds, and then they put a 900 block on her thing, so we could never do it again. Like, that was like the agreement too. But my sister spent so much time on the dial-up phone, that we had a cordless phone at that time, but with a really heavy metal antenna that you could like stab people with. Yep. She racked up hundreds of dollars. Like, it was bad. She was in trouble. Okay, next question. Gal said it reminds her of a crazy quilt. Yep. Autumn said, it's nice to see you doodle. I feel like when I aim for such precise finished art, it's nice to see you go through the learning step and show us your bad art. Yeah, this is more just like, the only thing I have a hard time with this is my brain. I still have a hard time, like, let's do more swirls, because I like swirls. That is my favorite, like, doodle. I would put swirls on every doodle. I think they're pretty. Oh, he needs a new one. There we go. Let's see. Donna said, I just used my cheapy airbrush for water. After your advice of keeping the animals safe with oil paints and airbrushing, I decided to err on the side of caution. Yeah, and with the water, you don't have to worry about your pets either. So yeah, that's pretty safe. Junk Drawing said, when I use oil paint while painting a piece for weeks, I see fungi growing. What? I also encounter these fungi in places after varnishing. How to get rid of them? That's not from oil paint. I don't even know what you're talking about. That, nothing should grow on oil paint. I have never heard that before. I would think oil paint kills things. Like, I don't know how you're having anything grow. Something else is going on there, and I don't know what it is, unfortunately. I have never heard of that being a thing, so I'm not help for you. I would do a Google search and see, like, fungi or mold growing on an oil painting and see if you can find anything. I've never heard of it before, so maybe someone else had something similar and someone was able to figure out what it actually was. So I'm not sure. Sarah said, sorry, these live stream chats don't always provide enough characters to say what I have to say. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just can't I can't read text speak. My brain is just like, nope, I'm not doing this for you. Let's see. Rook said, Lachri mutant swirly turtles. Yup. Tom Wade said, sorry, I need to ask a follow-up question if I may. Under what circumstances does dipping your brush in linseed oil make things better? Thank you for all you do for us. So when I dip my paint in linseed oil, or my brush in linseed oil, I'm using it to thin out the paint, because usually, and especially with me, I typically use Winsor & Newton oil paints. I'm thinking of trying some other ones, but I've been using, just because it's easy, you can get them at any art supply store, everyone carries them, but they're kind of thick. The Artist's brand are not as thick. The wait, which one is it? One of them is really thick. The Witten Color is the one that's like thick, and so you have to thin that out, and that's what I thin it out with my linseed, or my, I keep saying linseed oil, with liquid. Whereas my Artist, the Winsor & Newton Artist Color, that one is that one's more thin. It's a little bit creamier, but it still needs to be thinned out. Like, the paint's just too thick for how I work, and that's what I'm using my mixed seeding medium for. Sarah Makes Art said, I asked about the thumbnail because I was advised by Brian G. Johnson that Sarah wouldn't mean anything to non-subscribers, so I wanted to get your perspective. No, he's right. He's definitely right. He wouldn't, but, you know, maybe Sarah Makes Art is too long. I don't know that it needs to say anything. You don't necessarily, in your case, maybe that wouldn't necessarily be a thing. The only reason mine works for a non-subscriber, they're not gonna, or someone who's never seen my videos, they're not gonna know what Lachri means either. But it's more for people who have seen my videos and they're scrolling through. It's easy to see that thumbnail and know it's mine. So if they had liked my content in the past, hopefully they'll want to see that one too. So that's where it's just that having something recognizable is the reason that I do it. But most people who do really well don't even do that. They just do, like, you know, oil painting for if it's an oil painting, if it has words, something like that. So mine, I've just done it to make it all very recognizable. You can tell what mine are. And maybe it's bad, that could work against me too. Let's say someone watched an older video that I didn't edit as well, and they absolutely hated it. Or maybe they just didn't like me. People don't like how fast I talk. So they may see that and see my thumbnail come up again and be like, I'm not giving that a chance because I didn't like one other video that she had produced. So it could also work against you as much as for you. So I don't know that it's necessary, honestly. It's just how I do it. I like everything to look similar, and it's just what I do. Steve Anthony said, do you remember how to say shmiki? Nope. Clearly I don't. Kat says, if you want different patterns, try the website Tangle Patterns for a whole encyclopedia of patterns. Let's just look that up right now. Come here. My tablet. Here, you guys get to see my tablet really quick because that is... I might be back. I don't know. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, okay, I think we're good. Let me refresh this. Let me get the chat window back. And I apologize for doing this to you guys, but if you asked a question and I have not answered it, can you ask it again? I'm not going to be able to get that chat back, so I don't know where I was on the questions. I don't even know what I was answering. I do know I pulled up patterns of Zentangle, though, which is really helpful. Zentangle patterns. So this computer, my laptop, it's on warranty, I think, until one of the days in September. It's a Best Buy warranty. I think it's time. I think I'm actually going to end up using it. It's dropping. I'm noticing when I do live streams, this device drops. It's not holding onto the Wi-Fi at all, where all my other devices have no problem with Wi-Fi anyway. So, yeah, this is the buffering. This is just not going well. Come on. Let's see what the problem is now. Like that, the computer should not have crashed. This is being an issue, or becoming an issue. So it may be time to talk to Best Buy about redoing this. And man, it's having massive problems right now. Let's see. You guys are saying everything is good. I don't know if it's doing, it's like super skipping for me. Let's see how long that takes to, I think it's catching up now. Maybe I can chat. Let's just try refreshing it and see if that ruins everything again. But yeah, this laptop seems to have reached its life. I mean, the good thing is I'm pretty sure this one is still under warranty because I think it's still sometime in September. So it may be worth going ahead and returning, or, you know, taking it in for, taking them up on that, because I have had enough problems with it lately, which is almost a good, like, kind of a good thing, because if that is the case, then I get a replacement for the ridiculous fee I paid for my thing, my warranty. Okay, so I think we're good. And I want to thank, if you guys have not already checked out our moderators' channels, please do. They are linked below in the video description. They have great art channels you definitely want to check out. And, you know, say thank you to them because they help me so much. Like, I don't even know how I would manage this without them. Okay, let's see. You guys are saying it seems like it's all okay. It looks, yeah, it's still laggy. The audio is good, but the video is jumpy. Well, that's actually decent then, as long as the audio is good. That's what matters. I mean, it's not like I'm teaching you guys how to do anything today. as annoying as it is, at least we can kind of continue. Yeah, Clarence says, technology is great until it's not working. Yeah, you are right there. Kiss My Canvas. Okay, that is an awesome name. Oh my gosh. Says, I saw you blending in a video and it wasn't with a makeup brush. It was a different brush. The makeup brush you use in place of the mop brush, right? What was the other brush? It depends on which video. I've got a few that I use. Usually is the makeup brush. If it's an oil painting, you're going to see me do it with the Royal Soft Grip mop brush. I love those, but they shed so bad. So I use those for oil even now still, because the texture, even though they shed, it's still a good texture and they're really cheap. So it works well for oils. For acrylics, I just use the makeup brushes, the blush brush, or I used to have, they're not over here anymore, another soft one that was a type of mop that shed really bad, but I don't know what it was. Audio fine, video lagging. Well, I guess that's fine. Myra said, is it weird that I have the hardest time doodling? I'm a photorealistic animal portrait artist and I can't seem to loosen up enough to doodle. Frustrating. Me too. I can do swirls. That's where mine ends. My brain is like, nope, we're not doing that. Even drawing the turtle, like, I wanted to sit and make him perfect and make him look accurate. And my brain is like, that's how you draw. You can't make it, like, not accurate. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's see. Kim said, have you ever heard of the liquid turning oil paints yellow? I was taught not to use mediums because the teacher said it was a risk. Okay, certain mediums with oil painting are absolutely going to turn yellow. I think walnut oil was a bad one. Linseed oil can be. A lot of them can. The liquid is what I use, and that is non-yellowing. So for me, the type of painting I do, I have to use a mixing medium. It will not work without that. Yes, mixing mediums can yellow over time. Some worse than others. A lot of like the walnut oil, the linseed oil. I'm trying to think, safflower oil. There's a lot of different ones, and some of them are going to yellow more than others. Just do a search on which. But the liquid is supposed to not yellow as much, so that one works really well. At least for me. And it's fast drying, so I like it. Kiss My Canvas said, thinks it's the dolphin video. Still not narrowing it down for me. I painted hundreds of dolphins, maybe not hundreds here on YouTube. I'm not sure how many I have here, but that still doesn't, I don't know which one it is. Even if you told me what it was, I'd have to go look, and obviously my computer's not handling anything today, so we're not going to do that. Let's see. Hiccup said, yeah, letting an unknown Best Buy tech into my laptop would be letting someone go through my wallet. Well, that happened to me today too, actually. I got a call from, actually I got the email and then the notification from Chase wanting to know if I made a purchase at Lamps Plus for like $400 and something and $200 at Nike.dot.com, like super shady, obvious, not a real website. No, that was not me, and it was on my art account. So I had to call the number on the back of the card and contact them, and they put the fraud thing and whatever. But yeah, somebody's apparently been stealing my stuff too. So not actually from my wallet, but yeah, that is my day. What would happen with Best Buy? It wouldn't be something that they fixed. It would be something that I got. My warranty gives me a new laptop. So, I mean, technically, and they even told me, you could take a hammer to this, I could drop it, intentionally break it, and that is covered under my warranty. So at this point, I'm tempted to throw it out the window anyway. So maybe that is the way to go. Because the warranty I got covers drops and spills and everything. I wasn't sure how likely I would be to drop this or damage it in a live stream. Now I know I wouldn't. But at the time, I was like, that might be a good idea. Because, you know, when you start painting and messing stuff up. But yeah, I think I'm going to be having a trip to Best Buy this week. I also do Fitbits I get from Best Buy as well. Because within 2 years, it's not going to hold a charge very well anyway, and that's reason enough, if it's not holding the charge, to do the return, and you get a new one, whatever the newest model is, you would get. So if they don't have the same model anymore, they do the even replacement. So yeah, their warranty I like on some of it, but it's not letting them fix it. It would be replacing the whole laptop. Let's see. Steve said, are you recording this? Nope. Oh, good. My video seems to have resolved itself. That's good. Thanks, Donna. Let's see. Kathleen said, I have that warranty for 3 years. My laptop at Geek Squad headquarters now. It's been there for 3 weeks this summer for the 5th repair. Well, it's not. Mine's not supposed to repair it. Mine's supposed to replace it. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm tempted to just replace. I can't because I just bought the airbrush. I want to just replace the whole thing anyway at this point. I'm like so frustrated with, I mean, it's out of date. I've got to replace my main computer too. So that's a little bit of a, that probably needs to happen first. So I don't know. I don't know for sure what I'm going to be doing. I've got to talk to them. I'll have to find out. I need to look again at what it is. You said your latest update says accessing your device. We may need to replace your device. See, if that's the case, I would just take a hammer to it and say, oops, it fell. Because obviously that can't be, they'd have to replace it. So I'm almost, and I don't want to do that because that seems dishonest. But if they're going to screw with me, because they were so like, nope, if if it breaks, it's just a replacement. It's not a we repair it thing. It's not supposed to be a we repair one. It's supposed to be a replacement one. So I need to find out about that then, because they shouldn't even try to repair mine. That's not what I signed up for. So if that's what they're going to do, then I would just take a hammer to it and be like, okay, here you go, because you can't replace, you know, obviously it can't be fixed. I'll have to see. Rachel wants to know how Nugget and Chicken are. They are both cute and noisy and adorable. Nugget is hilarious because he has a thing against plastic bags or anything crumpling. He gets all floofed up, and he's a little bird. Floofed up, starts like tearing you, like telling you off. Like he'll be doing his weird little bird chirp, his angry chirp, mixed in with baby bird. He always says baby bird, which is extra funny when he's all floofed and angry and attacking a plastic bag because it made a noise or a rumple. So whenever, like if he's flying around and you want him to come to you, you just take a bag and just barely rumple it. He is there in an instant, telling off that bag. Like it sounds like a bird cussing out a bag, only he doesn't actually cuss. So funny. Heard something out in the living room. Thanks, Myra. Kathleen, I wonder if we have the same warranty, because mine was supposed to be something not the same. It was supposed to just be replace, like exchange it. It was never supposed to be like, they were real clear on that. It's not something we're going to try to fix. So I need to look into that. Brent said, dump a glass of milk on it. Best Buy will replace it. Found that out. See, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I was joking with my husband because the guy told us when we got the warranty, oh, just, you know, drop it on purpose. Take a hammer to it and you can get it in 2 years. We'll exchange it for a new one. And I'm like, that just seems dishonest. So I wouldn't do that. But it is causing problems. I've been the last couple of months on, it's getting worse, the problems that I've had with it. So I'm thinking that it may be worth, like, then I may do, you know, accidentally spill, well, I don't have milk. I'd have to go buy milk. It would be worth it. Yeah. Yeah, Kathleen said double check because when they bought it. Yeah, I'll look into that for sure. My husband just got an email, or one of us got the email saying that it was, you know, it asked about the battery and it asked about something else and let us know that the warranty was coming up. So the downside is we would probably, well, I guess it wouldn't be a big deal if I was without a computer, or like, let's say, I don't know how long it would take if they instantly replace it or what. I would just do critiques on my desktop, although that needs to be replaced too. Let's see, back to art. Steve Anthony said, if you could only do one brand of colored pencils, not in conjunction, what would it be? See, that's hard. Like, okay, if the new Derwent Lightfast had every color I wanted, I would say them. I love them. If Pro Color were all Lightfast, I would say them. It would either be Caran d'Ache Luminance at this point, because I can get all those colors, or the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I wouldn't want to have to choose. It'd have to be one or the other. Yeah, Valerie said, oops, paint water spilled. That's what I thought. I thought I would spill water on it, or it would get knocked over when I do the live stream because of the stand that I have it on. The stand actually is really stable. So I thought that would be the case. Blue said, make a video of you doing pouring medium over the computer, then trade it in. I wonder what they would say, because, like, they were so clear that you could, like, anything at all. I'm like, what if you actually saw the video of me intentionally damaging it? Then, like, there has to be fine print somewhere in there that is like, well, except for that, you know, we're not covering to that extent. Rook's Artwork says, don't use milk. use it as a canvas for an acrylic pouring medium and then take it in. It'll be the prettiest damaged laptop they get. Megan said, what is the art alternative journal like? Crap. This is crap. I am so not okay, I take it back. Let's back that up a bit. This is beautiful. I love how this came out and how you can draw on it, and these pens worked perfectly on this. Although when I do this, I'm getting glitter on my hands every time. So I've got like this super fine glitter. Like, I don't know if you can see this. It's shimmery. Like, I look like a mermaid. I have mermaid hands. Because in my head, mermaids shimmer. But the paper itself is, see how you can see it leaked right through it. It's not good. I'm not impressed with this paper at all. And I've had other art alternative ones that I liked well enough, but this, maybe it's just not suitable for this. The thing that I do like about it, see how it lays really nice and flat while you're working. I do like that aspect of it. I think the cover is beautiful. The paper itself, I'm not impressed with. I like how they've sealed it though, and how the way that it lays flat is a big bonus for me. But as far as the quality of the paper itself, I think it's crap. It amazes me when I looked this up on Amazon and saw that they were selling this for $20. It's their limited edition, so maybe that's why they're charging more. But I was really surprised. I'm like, this is not a $20 journal to me. The cover is pretty, but I don't even know, like, it's just cheaply glued on. I don't know. It's frayed at the edges already, and I've hardly used this. Like, that is going to fall apart. I'm not impressed with art alternatives on that one at all. I'm looking up more Zentangle patterns. Yeah, I can't, some of these are really elaborate for the patterns. I definitely can't do a lot of this with how little mine is. Gail said, I heard parrotlets are rather quiet compared to others. Is that true? I have a friend wanting a quiet bird. My cockatiel was about the same as my princess parakeet. His voice is quieter, but he gets, I call him the angry floof or anger floof all the time, because he gets so floofed up, and he's telling, like, I come in the room and he doesn't want me in there because that's his room. That is my husband, is his owner, and that's his dad, and he does not want me touching or coming near his dad. And so he's really vocal as far as that goes, but like the volume of his voice is, I would say, the quietest, but he talks a lot, and they do talk, which is cool. He's got the cutest little voice when he talks, but when he does his baby bird, it's so cute. Really high pitch, but he does talk. I mean, he's not like, when there are days where I have to go in and turn the light off at night right before my husband gets home late, and so like maybe an hour before, the birds decide he should be home now, even though he's never home at that time. So I have to sometimes go in and turn the light off on him at night before he gets home, because they just are insane with the noise. The cockatiel is louder. The parrotlet usually carries it on longer, where the cockatiel will calm down before the parrotlet will, I guess. Vladimir said you should get some of the bird journals or notebooks. They are at Jerry's and are amazing. They have a variety of pounds ranging from 1 to 200. Nice. They're great in my opinion. If I did more sketchbooks, I think I would. Brent said, yeah, that sketchbook paper sucks. Me and my girlfriend's 8-year-old had a blast coloring the cover. She carried it around with gel pens for days. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a paper I would go buy, that's for sure. I think it's pretty, but even like right now, seeing how frayed those edges already are is a little bit like, it's not going to last. I feel like Art Alternatives got like the cheapest paper they could, and there's a lot in it. The good thing is there's a ton in it, so you're not feeling like you're wasting it when you're like this. I don't care if I heard it. There's a million other pieces in here. I don't know how many are actually in there, but it's got a lot. But let's see. Can I give advice on how to become a successful artist? Practice and get your work out there. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, Lori said she had a macaw ear splitting. Seriously, my husband wants one. I'm like, no, trust me, you don't. My parents bred them when I was a kid. No. But anyway, the Becoming a and it depends on what is your definition of successful matters too. What I find, I mean, for me, part of it is I wanted to be confident, be good at art, but I also wanted to be able to pay my bills by doing this. So that was my idea of success. Some people's idea of success is becoming super well known. Some people, it's going to depend from artist to artist what you consider to be success. It's definitely not the same for everybody. And make sure you are tagging at Lachri Fine Art so it comes up orange. Otherwise, I normally won't see the question. Like, I just happened to see that one at that point. Megan said, I know how you feel about birds if using toxic chemicals. I recently saw an artist who has an actual chicken in her studio. Are they less susceptible? Also, cats, concerned. Cats don't seem to be as susceptible. Chickens, I don't know, but birds in general are very susceptible to different paint fumes and stuff. And while it might be okay for a while, I would not personally risk it. That's just me. But what? It depends on what is that person using in their studio. Is it like just acrylic paints? Fine. Airbrushing? Not fine. Anything that's being sprayed? Not fine. Pastels? I would say not fine. Anything that's powdery that the bird would be breathing in? I would say no to. Graphite? No problem. It depends on what mediums they're using. Regular colored pencil? Fine. Odorless mineral spirits? Not fine. So that all depends. Sarah Makes Art said that Art Alternatives was the first canvas I used. Mostly abandoned them for Frederick's, but I tried out their clear primed linen canvas. Yeah, I've used their canvases. I wouldn't buy them myself. I mean, I'm a huge Frederick's fangirl. Well, I'm sponsored by them, but it's more than that. Like, even before I was sponsored by them, that's all I used. Because I've had so many cases where I had problems with other canvases. I'm not even really using these ones. I like these ones. These are the colors I like. I'm not a huge fan of those. You can come over here too, purple. I like you. But, yeah, I mean, I've used their canvas boards. I've used some of their stretch canvases. They're okay. Not my choice, but it was okay for some of them. He has a fancy glittery collar now. Let's see. Steve said, what do you think is the easiest medium for realism in your opinion? Probably graphite. Yeah, graphite. I mean, anything, when you're working in just one color, that's going to be the easiest. Graphite, I think, is the easiest to get the hang of blending. It's the easiest to get fine detail in, and bigger blending, bigger soft things. Like if you were our Patreon video live stream we did, which my computer died on during that. Well, it didn't die. I just lost connection. That one was I showed how to use the graphite powder so that you can get the big blended areas easily. You can get soft detail. Yeah, I would say graphite is the easiest. Let's see. I need more. This little pattern thing is great. I'm at tanglepatterns.com, and there's only a few at the top, but I mean, it's really nice to see. I don't love the website as a whole. Like, it's got ads. It looks like it's kind of weird the way it's set up, but I do like, they've got this bar at the top that just keeps shifting through, and I keep just taking ideas from a lot of those, which is it's kind of cool. I am so anxious to start airbrushing again. I took a little bit of a break this week after I started the roses because I got really frustrated with the with the colors that I have. Like, I have a decent amount of colors, and you can mix your colors, no problem, with airbrush like anything else, but I was spending so much time mixing colors and wasting paint, and I had a bit of a personal meltdown and went and spent way too much money at Dick Blick and got lots of colors, so I don't have to spend as much time mixing anymore. So now that they came in today, they're like, actually, here, I'll show you. They're still in the thing. Like, I have this pile of, there's so many colors in there. So now I'm not going to, mostly Golden's Fluid. I'm really getting hooked on them the more I use them. But they're high flow, I should say. I'm so excited to get back to my rose now that I've got all my colors in. Yay! Let's see. I just saw a question from Vladimir. Alternatives also have a really huge encyclopedia-sized journal with 300 pages, and it's so heavy. What a tree killer. Ah, that is heavy. Wow. I don't know. That takes up too much space to me. I don't want, like, big, although, well, okay, I don't know if you can see behind me. There's a lot of canvases. That takes up a lot of space. I don't know what I'm complaining about, but I don't want my journals to take up that much space. Especially considering I pretty much hardly use them. Let's see. Ooh, that's kind of a neat shape. Oh, wait, I just used that color. Let's switch to this guy. Yeah, I want to do another one of these, I think, and do like a bigger thing. It is hard to get some of these little details. This would be fun on a larger scale. You don't have to do this just with pen. I mean, the pens are actually kind of fun. This, I'm as much as I'm like, this feels like an office supply box. I'm actually enjoying this process. And especially like when I see a pattern, and I'm not copying them exactly because I don't have enough space, but it gives me ideas for like, oh, do it this way. This is actually pretty enjoyable. Much more fun to me than mandalas. I am definitely not a mandala person. I actually like how mandalas look. I just don't like to draw them. JPC13 Art said, I feel like this turtle, who I've named Dante, needs a glittery top hat and mustache. You, sir, are correct. How did I not think of that? I mean, that just seems like the most obvious thing. Obviously, he needs a top hat and glittery. Oh my gosh. You come up with the best ideas, seriously. Let's see. Let's outline his little overly exaggerated shaped top hat. Don't ask me why it's shaped that exaggerated, but I think it's kind of cute. Sarah Makes Art said, I had seen Assumed Art Alternatives was a store brand for artists and craftsmen supply, which is a store I go to. I was surprised to see them in other places. They're supposed to be like a discount, I think, like cheaper alternative to a lot of other things, and sometimes their supplies are awesome, and sometimes, like in this case, I'm not impressed with this book. You know, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean someone else isn't going to like it. Let's be realistic there. Turns out my opinion is not the only opinion. Who knew? But, I mean, some people, I don't think I can fit the monocle because I've already got the dark around it. I don't know if I can do that, but I love the idea. He almost looks like he has one already. Yeah, Art Alternatives is like almost like a generic brand, and it's very hit or miss. Sometimes they've got great stuff, and sometimes less impressive. Jolene said, just wondering how many projects you work on at once. Do you find having a few makes it easier when avoid losing motivation? Thanks. No, I find if I have too many at once, that will make me lose motivation. Like even now, I've got on the tablet that I started and I need to finish it. I only have a few more feathers to go. I did a digital painting of a macaw that I want to do for a video. I've been recording the process and I haven't touched it in like 3 weeks, a month. I don't know. Whatever the last time was I posted it on Instagram. I should finish him. It would take me like 30 minutes to finish and I just haven't because I get started on something else and then I lose motivation for the previous thing. So no, for me, that does the opposite. Now, some people might work better that way. If I do only, like I went through a period where I was almost only doing oil paintings and I would have like 3 going at the same time. So I could work on one while one was drying, but that was about it as far as like doing several at once. Steve said, I just got my first commission of a toddler. Any tips for younger people since I don't really draw them that much? Yes. Don't do too many lines. One of the problems toddlers and babies, a lot of people will do, they try to do much detail in the face, too many like little wrinkles and stuff, and they end up making teeny tiny old looking people. And it's creepy. Don't overdo that. It is so easy to take a toddler and make them look like they're 80 by adding in these little, like trying to put too many details. Toddlers, their skin is going to be very smooth. They don't have the wrinkles yet. They'll get there. Don't give it to them early. But that's my biggest tip for you, is watch that you're not making creepy looking little babies, basically, is what I see that a lot. Don't do too much detail is the big thing. Like, and don't do, like, if they have a little wrinkle or a little crease in their face, like, depending on their expression, it's not going to be a deep crease. It's going to be very shallow, so it's not going to be a dark shadow. So that's probably my biggest tip for you on them. A Dolly-esque mustache. I don't know, because of the black that I have on here, I'm not sure I could really, I guess if it was solid black, I might be able to make it work. Maybe if I don't know. I think it would just look weird. I don't think you guys would know. Well, you guys are doing this with me. You'll know. You're all that matters. Let's see. We'll just fill it in solid black. And maybe it'll hide the previous lines. I don't know if it really looks like a mustache or if it just looks like little face tendrils. Another one would show off on the other side. I don't know if that came out looking like a mustache. Kinda. I don't know. I feel like I should put an arrow and be like, who suggested this? Put your name next to it. Kathy. Let's see. Sarah said, I have an aunt who takes art classes, and if her teacher doesn't like something, she won't try it. Wait, what? And if her teacher doesn't like something, she won't try it. I want to say to her, try and see if you like it, but I don't. Yeah, don't say it. It's... But yeah, a lot of people will do that. They'll assume because one person doesn't like it, they won't like it. Definitely not the case. Like, but I like to try lots of stuff. Let's see. Brent said, I just thought of something. A while back, Crayola actually made a great mixed media sketchbook. I wonder why they stopped. Probably cost more than I would imagine. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I would guess if a company like that did that, people when they go to like Crayola, they don't expect to spend much. They expect very low cost things, but to make quality cost more money. So I wonder if it just didn't sell well. Possible. I don't know. But I mean, it would be hard, I would think, for Crayola to jump into that market because they're known for just cheap kids stuff. So to convince artists that it's worth buying their more expensive stuff, that would be a really hard, I think, like bridge for them to cross over. So if I had to guess, I would say that was probably the reason. I don't know though. I didn't even know anything about it, but just like off the top of my head, I could see that being a really hard thing for a company like them to kind of break into. They've got too much of a, like, I don't want to say stigma, but like, I mean, that's just what people expect from them, are children's cheap art supplies. People aren't going to want to spend money for quality from them. They would assume it wouldn't be. Gail said, I've drawn a lot of babies and toddlers, and I say it's basically just a lot of circles. Pretty accurate. Tasha said, I just invested in the 120 set of polychromos. Now I can't think of anything to draw. Oh no. Where do you get your inspirations from when that happens to you? My two main websites I go to, well, three. One, I take a lot of reference photos myself because of Patreon, and so that's like one of my first things I'll hit up because I like to draw my own photos. That's fun. The other one, wildlifereferencephotos.com, if you want to buy photos. Oh my gosh, there's so many amazing photos over there. The third, if you just want free stuff, pixabay.com. I'll look through like, okay, I'm in the mood to draw a rose or a turtle or whatever, just whatever you want. Type it in and find a photo that you're interested in. Just pick something, but don't spend too long picking something. There's no reason to. I mean, you don't need a what design should I do for this? You don't need. What I used to tell my students, let's back that up a little bit. What I used to tell my students is whatever you're going to draw, because people would spend 2 hours of class time that was only a 2-hour class. They'd spend 2 hours trying to pick a photo. Don't do that. This is not the only photo you're ever going to draw or the only whatever artwork that you're ever going to create. Just pick something and get started. Doesn't matter what it is. Just pick something. I will give myself usually maybe an hour, 2 hours max if I'm really designing something elaborate. But normally within an hour, I have to pick something and move along. if I don't, you know, it doesn't have to be my best work ever. It doesn't have to be the most creative thing ever. Just pick something and get started, because that thing that you picked, even though it may not be your best, it may lead to an idea that gets you to your best artwork. So let's say I started with an apple and I'm drawing this apple and it seems super boring, but I needed to pick something, so I found an apple I liked. So I start working on that. And then I start getting ideas. What if there was an octopus holding this apple? That just led to my next painting that is more creative, that did give me more ideas. So just pick something and get started. Don't waste too much time trying to find the perfect thing. Let's see. But Pixabay is a really good place if you want free stuff, free photos. Phoenix said, fan for a very long time. Oh, thanks. Didn't know she did live stuff. What a surprise for the night. Yeah, I do them every Wednesday night. Well, though, well, hopefully, as long as my computer doesn't keep acting up. Megan said, I've heard the adult Crayola colored pencils aren't as good as they are hyped up to be. It's so difficult. Yeah, see, or so it's difficult. I wouldn't imagine anything from Crayola would be that great. Honestly, because I've got this idea in my head that they're children's things. That's, you know, they're not going to be light fast. I don't think they do any light fast testing unless they changed it for those. But I mean, they're crossing, it's not what they're focused on. Their focus has always been kids stuff. So it would be very hard for anyone to take them seriously as anything else. JPC13 Art now wants him to have a pipe. I'm running out of room for, I guess I could have one. We'll see. Let's pick some designs over here. I should have talked to you guys when I first drew him out and had you guys come up with ideas, because I could have included that all to start with. We should do another doodle night, though, where I'll just draw what you guys come up with. That would be fun. Let's see. Compare and contrast being an artist versus being a YouTuber. I don't know. I mean, if your goal, my goal is to create artwork that I like and I just record it. And I also like teaching people. So I'll teach you guys what it is that I'm doing. So I don't know. That's kind of my goal. Everyone's goals are going to be different. My goal is to create good artwork. So some people's goal is to just make videos and they'll base it around art. But their goal isn't necessarily to teach, it's just to entertain. So, I mean, there's definitely a difference there, depending on what someone is focused on. Are you more focused on growing YouTube and getting the views, or are you more focused on the art and teaching? You know, you definitely have a bit of a difference there. And it's not that one's wrong, one's right, anything like that. It just depends on what you're going for. I mean, for me, I do both. But I focus on the art, I don't consider myself to be terribly entertaining. I just share my art with you guys. So that's going to, well, it'll affect the numbers, because it's not like, it's more specific to only other artists are really going to be interested in what I'm doing versus somebody just watching because somebody's funny or something like that. It's just not my forte. Well, I can be funny, but it includes swear words that aren't appropriate for the channel. So I try to keep that out and just keep it pretty bland. But I mean, that's kind of a big difference with I think people who are focused just on the YouTube versus being an artist. I'm focused more too on, and not just me, like a lot of the YouTube artists will say the same. They're focused on creating good artwork and then teaching you guys along, you know, kind of killing two birds with one stone, I guess, would be a way to put that. But that's, I don't like anything on this one. I don't know. I don't know that I'm answering that very well. I guess it just depends on what that person's goal is. I mean, I can say when I was just doing art before YouTube, it was hard to get your stuff seen. It was hard, like YouTube really made a difference because now people have seen my artwork. It's easier to search things on YouTube, and I like to teach. So it's been such a good platform for me to teach other artists. It works out perfectly. I can teach more people because of YouTube than I could in person by a lot. So that's a big thing. Let's see. Bronwyn. Oh, that just scrolled too far. Oh, God. Bronwyn said, I use Strathmore hardcover mixed media journals. The paper is a heavier weight. There is zero bleed through the pages. It also has a great tooth that handles both wet and dry medium. That's good. Strathmore has a lot of paper that I like. Strathmore and Inktense both actually have a lot of their sketchbooks I've used I've really liked. Megan said, how about a pipe? Yep, someone already said that for Dante the Turtle. I don't know if I can fit the pipe. It would have to be like super small. Not that anything's in perspective here anyway. Clarence said, I bet your next piece will be an ostrich holding an apple. That would actually be cute, like in his beak. Or An octopus holding an apple, though, I do want to do. Like, that's, yes. Sarah said, makeup YouTubers are doing things like predictive text, makeup picks my video. I've seen that. Maybe you could do a subscribers decide what I draw. Yeah, I think it would be kind of fun if, like, come up with a doodle that you guys, oh, I threw the cap on the floor, that you guys did. And I've actually got, I probably wouldn't necessarily do just with these pens if we do that. I have a bunch of markers over here from Smart Art Box that would actually, I think, have been better for this project. They would have not been our office supplies at that point, but that would be fun. Let's see. Do you agree with the statement, quality art supplies don't make art better? Personally, I think they don't affect the artist's skill level, but it affects the actual quality of the piece. Yeah, no, I absolutely do not agree that quality supplies don't make art better. So here's the thing. Quality supplies don't make the artist, it doesn't necessarily, no, that's not even true either. Because, okay, I have, let's use acrylics, for example, or a colored pencil. Let's use colored pencil. If someone uses a colored pencil that does not work well for the techniques that they're doing, Colorsoft is an example of that. Colorsoft colored pencils don't work for my techniques. I can't, no matter how good I am, I cannot, unless I work super big where I don't need to blend and it's just like basically paint by number, and then when I shrink it down for videos or for prints, it would look okay. But like if I worked on a normal size, Colorsoft will not work for me. They will not do what I need them to do. So in a lot of artists, they may only try Colorsoft for the first time and be like, oh, color pencils aren't for me, I can't blend them. No, try a different colored pencil that works better for those techniques. So we'll stick with Derwent. Their new Light Fast pencils or the Derwent Pro Color. Blend beautifully, layer beautifully. That makes a difference. The work that I can create with one versus the other, like, because I don't consider Colorsoft to be, I don't want to say they're not quality. They're not quality to me. I don't like Colorsoft. But then the Light Fast that are amazing, the Light Fast Derwent pencils, those work. Those are going to produce very, very different artwork that I cannot make happen with Colorsoft because Colorsoft just can't do the same thing. Let's go to acrylic paint. Reeves, I don't know if they've changed, but, you know, about 15 years ago when I had students had brought them in and we tried them. Reeves or Revis or however you say it, you would have a student try to do the same techniques, blending, layering, glazing, and you would have a dry layer, completely dry. They would paint the next layer on top, and that first layer would reactivate and lift off the canvas. It wouldn't adhere to the canvas. That's a problem, and they weren't supposed to do that. That is a serious problem to me. So no, you can't, using Reeves, I can't do the same thing with Reeves that I can with Liquitex, because Liquitex adheres the way that it needs to, the way that it should, in order to blend, in order to glaze, in order to do a lot of these things, and they're more pigmented, where the Reeves had like poor pigmentation, didn't adhere to the canvas or stay to them. I mean, they were terrible. So yeah, the quality of your materials 100% can make a difference to the artwork you're producing. Now it depends on the medium too, because graphite, give me a number 2 pencil and I'm going to be able to do something very similar to a similar pencil like an HB pencil in a higher, like a name brand. It's going to be about the same, because there's not a huge difference in pencils. The things where I get picky about which pencils I like are like, do they have those hard little nuggets in them that scratches the paper? A good pencil shouldn't. How well they blend. I mean, it's minor. So, but when you get into acrylics, makes a difference. Colored pencil makes huge difference. The paper you're using, if you give me a paper that is not the right tooth or doesn't I can't get good color saturation. Let's use was it Strathmore? I think they made their colored pencil paper. Terrible. Absolutely terrible paper. I don't like much about that paper at all. That paper can't get the color saturation as, let's say, Canson Mitans or the Arches hot press watercolor paper. It can't do it. It's not suitable for what I want it to do. So in that case, you give me those 2 pieces of paper and I can make good artwork on both. One's going to look a heck of a lot better and it's going to make a difference. So your art supplies do matter, and it really, I think, does matter when someone's learning too. A student can't take Reeves or Revis or whatever they're called and learn what they can with Liquitex, because it can't do the same thing. It's not behaving the way that it's supposed to. So I've seen that. I was looking at like little quotes that artists make, and they were making comments like that. Like it's the artist, not the art supplies. Yes and no. I mean, I can make something pretty with just about anything you give me, but the quality you're going to have a difference in the quality of the work I produce based on the quality of the supplies that I'm using. So that's, I think when I was younger, I would have agreed and said, yeah, it's the artist, not the supplies. But now that I'm older, now that I've experienced multiple supplies, I've been teaching for 20 years, I know where students struggle with certain mediums because, or certain, like I said, the Reeve is acrylic versus Liquitex. If it can't do what I'm trying to teach you, the paint genuinely cannot do what I'm trying to teach you, you can't learn from that. You can't produce, you can't do certain things. It does limit you. So when I was younger, I didn't really see it as much as I do now that I've used more supplies. I mean, at this point, I've created thousands and thousands of paintings and drawings. So I think I've got a little bit more experience where my opinion has definitely shifted to where I say, absolutely, the art supplies will make a difference. So how's that for a rant? Valerie said a teacup. That just scrolled too far. Valerie said something. Teacup on top of the hat for Dante. It's too close to the top. I don't think I'd fit it well where you could tell it was a tea hat. He needs polka dots, though, for sure. This is definitely going to be a polka dotted top hat. I don't know, though. I'm kind of tempted to make it solid. Although I do like the polka dots. Maybe not. Maybe we'll keep it with polka dots. Let's see. Starving Artist Collective said, years ago, I bought Crayola Portfolio watercolors, had real pigments, granulating ultramarine burnt sienna, strong bright colors, no chalkiness. Shame they don't make them anymore. Yeah, see, I have to think that they weren't selling well. I don't know, but I wouldn't have bought them because I would have seen Crayola and gone, nope, it's crap. It's Crayola. It's for kids. So just because of that, I could see. Let's see. Who is my favorite YouTube art channel? That's hard. I don't know. I mean, I can list off my friends because obviously I'm going to be a bit biased there, but I already liked them before I got to know them, like Jason Morgan. I've always loved his. I love Lena Danya's work. Both are awesome people. I love them both, and then I love their artwork, so they would be on my top. Let's see, what other art channels? Robin, oh, she changed it. I think it's Robin Sealark now. She's funny because she's entertaining and does good art. Like, she cracks me up. Her and that hoodie are hilarious to me. So those are some off the top. I'm sure I'm not thinking of others that I absolutely love and just can't think of it. Let's see. Sarah said, I was so excited to hear that you're into Mikey from Glam and Gore. It makes me wonder what other favorite creators we have in common. I don't know. I watch Philip DeFranco pretty much every day, too. Who else do I watch regularly? Not that much. I actually don't watch that much YouTube. I've been looking for what's it called? Airbrushing videos, and I'm just so surprised at how few there are. So that one's kind of cute. Oh, I think this is too small. I should have made bigger patterns. I definitely made him too small of a quilt. If I did this again, I would leave like the whole shell as one pattern and not try to make it little. The size of my pens are just like, this is too much for us. We can't do this. I keep liking these little weird circle-y shapes. I've definitely learned from this. Let's see. Oops. Gail said, last night I ordered my first Pan Pastel 20 painting set and restocked my paints with Liquitex acrylic set. It's like waiting for Christmas morning. Yes. Who did you order from? I just got an order from Dick Blick. All my airbrush paints. I got those. I'm excited after the live stream. I get to put them all with all the rest of my stuff. I didn't have time today. Yeah, I got those. What else? I got a bunch of art supplies this week. You're right. It is like Christmas getting all of those. I restocked a bunch of colored pencils the week before, too. I was out of so many. Sanded paper, because I can work so much larger. I burn through those pencils and you work faster. I go through them so fast. Let's see if I can quickly fill in a bunch of these. I start talking and then I stop drawing. I'm really bad about that. I used to get on my students about that, especially the teenage girls. They would start talking to me in class, like wanting to tell me about their day or whatever. And the adults didn't do it. It was the kids. They would talk and talk, and it's like, you can talk, but you have to draw. Like, talk and draw at the same time, and I'm finding myself, I can't do it either, apparently. Let's see. There we go. Okay, one from Paul said, I know you tend to stay away from Reeves acrylic paint. How do you feel about the quality of their tube watercolors? I've never used them. I didn't like the acrylics, and I just was like, this is bad. They must all be bad. That's not necessarily true. It's just how I looked at it. Kind of like the Crayola thing. Like, you assume you try one thing you didn't like, and you're like, it's probably all crap. I'm not going to waste my money on any more of these. Oh, well, I didn't have to waste my money on the Reeves. It actually was from students brought them in, so that was lucky for me. But what do I think? Megan said, what do you think about clear gesso, which is a pastel primer ground, so you can make your own pastel paper? Clear gesso, I've never used it for that. I mean, I've used regular clear, like acrylic gesso. I don't know about a pastel ground, but I have used clear gesso for other things. It worked to me the same as regular gesso did. I've never tried to make it as my own paper, though, for pastels, so I can't say there. Let's see. Valerie now wants a coffee mug on the back of the shell. Would it even look like a mug, though, in this? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's make it black so it kind of stands out. He's going to have a black coffee mug. Probably should have drawn this. Still going? And reconnected. I think I'm still going. Let's see. Are we here? Let's refresh that page. I may be talking to myself. Ah, this is getting frustrating. I think it is time to take a hammer to this laptop and go return or exchange it. Like, I'm seriously tempted to just drop it on the floor at this point because it's pissing me off. Like, ugh, stop doing this. So, look, that would be a legitimate claim for my warranty. I should find out when that warranty is, huh? Okay, I think we are back. It's probably going to have issues buffering again. Okay, let's see. Back to this. Anything else? The moon ram, for the outliner, it's basically you're just going to use that pencil if it was something you didn't want to lift when water gets applied on top. I want it to lift. I want it to blend out, so I don't use it for anything, honestly. Taking notes. Like if I have to, I think I have one, or I had one sitting up in my regular, like the pencil, my office supplies, where these will end up, over there for just like quick notes, but I don't use it for art at all. Not that you can't, I just don't. Have I ever participated in art conventions? If so, can you describe your experience? They weren't, well, no, okay, yeah, I did, with Derwent. I went for their, I'm going to do a bunch of polka dots all over because it's fast. I went and did a demonstration where I was demonstrating the Derwent Inktense for the National Art Marketing, NAMTA, something like that. I don't know. It was a big, like, all kinds of, like, Karen Dosh was there, Faber-Castell was there, Goldens were there. That's actually how I met them and how I got my first few samples, or they gave me full size, with Goldens with their airbrush paint, and that's how I knew I liked, or found out I liked them. Who else was, like, all kinds of art suppliers were there. And it was where, like, if you owned an art supply store, you went and looked at supplies that you might want to carry in your store or online or whatever. So that was really cool. It wasn't like an art convention, like I'm going to sit and display my own stuff. It was, I was demonstrating Derwent's product, which was a lot of fun. Fredericks has talked about wanting me to do that with them for other ones, but it's a lot of work. But it's fun. I mean, well, that one was fun because it was a bunch of stuff with art supplies. So, of course, I'm going to love that. Because I got to go, like, actually, the airbrush that I got, oh, come on, start working. The airbrush that I got was by Grex, and that was the first place I saw them. They were demonstrating, or that's pretty. That has a green. It shifts from green to blue. That's actually a really pretty pen. But they were... It doesn't look like a coffee mug anymore. Oh, well. I should have left the inside white. They were, I got to sample their airbrushes while I was there when I was walking around, because Derwent wasn't like, you have to sit and work the whole time. They kept being like, go take a break, go walk around. So I got to try theirs, and that's why I decided I wanted to get them this time, because I liked them when I tested them. But, yeah, they were, it was fun. It was wear comfortable clothes, because if you're going to sit and demonstrate, you know, you don't want to worry about bending over and flashing people if your jeans are too low or something like that. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of things to add besides that. I mean, that's at a convention, though. I mean, like an art show would be different. Nick loves hoodie. Yeah, me too. That's so, she's hilarious. Like, she is, Robin Sealark, I think, and I apologize if I'm saying her new last name wrong, but she is such a good example of someone who mixed art with entertainment at the same time. And so her videos are, well, I haven't watched them lately because I'm a jerk and I don't watch videos very often, but her videos, when I do watch them, like, they're just, even if it's not a medium I'm interested in or a style, like, she's entertaining. So I think she's just a good example of like mixing like being a YouTuber and an artist. Like, she's just, I like her. Steve Anthony says, OMG, finally, I share the same point of view. So many videos say it's the artist, not the supplies. Just like when people use Crayola and compare them to luminance, like WTF. Exactly. Like, ugh, that drives me crazy when people start that. Like, this $1 art supply is just as good as this $60 one. No, it's actually not. And there are light fast issues there. Like, you're not creating archival things, and I have an issue with somebody telling somebody that they are. So, that's definitely, let's do a bunch of swirls all over. That will be cute because I've deemed it so. I don't like that's kind of like deceiving, I think, to people to imply that it's just as good. It's not, and it does make a difference. I mean, let's use like the tablet. I reviewed a tablet recently. I did an artwork on that, and it was half the price of my Samsung. It's not that it's bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with somebody using that, and especially if that's in their budget. But there is a difference in quality when you spend more on certain things. You do get what you pay for on certain things, and it does affect my artwork in that case. Like the digital drawing, because of it lagging a little bit, because of certain things, I lost patience with that where I don't with this. So, you know, just some of that. Let's see. Eric Draw says, you're my favorite YouTube artist. Oh, thanks. And I love Robin Sealer. See, am I saying it wrong? I'm sorry if I am. Well, Terry and Proco are good too. Yeah, Proco, we interviewed him. He's amazing. He does a different like style. He's more like the old masters. That guy's freaking phenomenal. His are really cool. We interviewed him for the Colored Pencil podcast. Really nice guy. Let's see. Joseph is offering to kick my computer for me. Come over here and accidentally just step on it. I'll leave it on the floor. I'm going to turn away because I don't want to be dishonest about things. But, you know, if it happens, it happens. Let's see. What's best for ceiling pan pastels? I can't say what's best yet. I can tell you right now I'm using a product called, what is it? It's up here. Hold on. Where did it go? So this is what I used, and so far I'm liking it. It didn't have, like, I didn't have too much of a shift in color. The Spectra Fix, I got this on Amazon, and this one, that's the one that's the casein derivative, but it didn't have too high of a smell. It didn't really affect the work, and you mist it on. It's like a spray bottle, so you can get some heavy droplets, but it didn't really damage anything, and I just kind of softened them out. So far I'm liking that. A friend of mine who uses pastels recommended it, so I picked that up. I haven't tried anything else yet, though. So I can't say what's best. I can tell you I am happy with that, though. Megan said, I love both normal and clear gesso, and one which actually states it's for using pastel on, so it has a bit of extra tooth. Roughage. Yeah, I haven't tried that. That's interesting, though. I didn't even know that they had that. Tammy said, I agree that skill and supplies can make a huge difference. My first colored pencils were the Eagle, and they were terrible. Almost avoided colored pencil permanently until I found your channel. See, and that's the thing that gets me with a lot of these supplies. Like, if you use something, like a lot of people will say, well, you're new to that supply, so don't spend a lot of money until you know if you like it. Well, you can't know if you like it if you're using a supply that doesn't work the same as another one. Like, that really does make a big difference. So, I mean, I was ready to give up on colored pencil altogether because of Prismacolor, because I got so sick of them breaking constantly. I've used every tip, every sharpener, everything you can think of, because people like to go, well, mine don't break on me. Okay, you've been lucky. Sometimes you get good batches. But I do so much art, I go through the pencils so much that I'm going to experience like a higher, I guess, rate of whether or not they're good or bad, or break or not. I shouldn't say good or bad. But I got to where I never even wanted to use pencil, because I was so sick of trying to fix broken leads. It was just nonstop. And that's not, it wasn't enjoyable for me anymore. Like, I just want to pick up my art supplies and have them do what they're supposed to do. Like airbrushing. I don't airbrush a lot, or I wasn't, because I was so sick of unclogging my airbrush. Yeah, that one was on me because I'm an idiot and wasn't cleaning it properly. Turns out if you clean it the way you're supposed to, which I'm making a video on, I'm so excited. It's made such a difference, the new method, like way that I'm cleaning mine. But I didn't want to do it because I felt like I was fighting with the airbrush so often, so I didn't do it as often. But this, am I stuck again? No, it's still going. It's just way delayed. Oh, my video is not caught up. Hold on. This is not recording. Give me a second. You're not even seeing what I've done to the turtle in a while now. I didn't even notice that. Let's see if that starts in. Come on. Are you recording? I don't think you are. I'm still learning to use the GoPro as a webcam, and so it's not like, it's not just plug and play, really easy and to go. And so you guys aren't even, I didn't even realize, it's been a while since you've seen anything I've done on the turtle. Let's see what happens if I just unplug it and plug it back in. It is not refreshing. Weird. Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Huh. Well, yeah, I don't even know. I mean, we're already at 10. I guess I can show you I've shaded in a few more things. Like, I gave his coffee cup colors. Now it doesn't look like a coffee cup. That was a bad choice. It's, yeah, I don't know why the GoPro is not wanting to record this. It should be. It's not even picking it up at all. Like, it's not. I don't know if I want to blame my computer for that, or if I want to blame, well, if it wouldn't have restarted, it would have been fine, or if that's just me learning the GoPro and the I'm using a product, it's the Cam Link. It lets you use a normal camera with, like, OBS, so I'm trying that tonight. My test went well, but it's not even trying. See what happens if I just remove it. Hold on. Let's delete it. And add a new one. I'm just playing with stuff while you guys are dealing with it. Let's see. Let's add a new video capture device. Well, it looks like it's still there, but I think I'm pretty much done for tonight. We're kind of back. I'm not going to draw anymore. I mean, I guess the turtle's good enough. I may end up finishing this while doodling. I'm thinking that the GoPro is not the way to go. Like, I don't know if it's just that my laptop can't handle the Cam Link. I bought the Cam Link. I've had nothing but problems since I've gotten, or I've never been able to get it to work right, and I thought it was the camera. And we have to test it on my other computer to see if that makes a difference. But there's an echo. Oh, why is that? What's picking up audio then? Hold on. Shouldn't get an echo. Oh, there we go. That should have stopped the echo. Is that better? Let's see if that works. This is an annoying drama. I had to do so much of getting it to set up and then delete and then set up and delete. Like, nothing with OBS. I've had nothing but problems with this tonight. And I don't even know if it's just, I don't know. I don't even know where to have problems. There's just problems. So yeah, sorry about that. And the thing's not recording. You can't see the screen, but I'm pretty sure if I try to make this record again, or start playing again with the GoPro so you can see the turtle. I mean, what you see is where I ended up, but I think if I kept going with it, I'm pretty sure that it would just freeze up, cause the computer to crash. That seems to be a bit of an issue with things not being, I don't know, it should be compatible. Like, there's no reason that these things are causing this problem. This is definitely, I don't know, do you think that's return worthy of Best Buy? But yeah, that's really frustrating. So sorry about that. Yeah, that's what Valerie said. The GoPro isn't worth it for streaming. I think you're right. And I don't know if it's the GoPro is the problem. It's the cam link doesn't seem to, I've never been able to get this thing to work. It's supposed to work as like a video capture device, but a smaller thing that it had great reviews. I've never gotten it to really work very well. It's just frustrating. So that was definitely, I don't know, at least for me, a waste of money. Maybe it works with some computers, but this computer, it's 2 years old. It's not like it's an old computer. It's the HP Spectre from whatever, 2000, whatever. And yeah, it's just not, this is the newest GoPro. Those things are supposed to work together. Like, all these devices are supposed to be fine, and it's clearly not. The laptop, let's see, it's a, what is it? I don't know. It's the HP Spectre from, I bought it in, I guess that would be 2016, I think. So it's been a decent laptop until recently. Like, now I'm having problems with it constantly. The Wi-Fi isn't wanting to stay connected. OBS drops constantly. Even if I'm just using the most basic webcams, OBS is constantly like it's not OBS that's disconnecting. My internet is disconnecting, and I don't have that happen on my other devices. So that tells me it's something with the Wi-Fi with this laptop is definitely a problem, which is a problem when you're streaming. So I'm really not sure. Let's see, OBS, why haven't you gone over to Streamlab OBS? What is that? I don't know what that is, that's why. What is Streamlab OBS? Let's see, all laptops don't tend to be the best for streaming, especially with multiple cameras. There's nothing I can do about that. I mean, it's got to be on a laptop. I can't do this from my desktop because the area that it's located, it's not, it has to be a laptop. So yeah, I have to have one that should work, and it has worked. Like, I've not had a problem with it working for the most part. Like, the 2 years that I've been doing this, it's been fine until recently. Something, I don't know if it's like a Windows update that screwed stuff up. I don't know. Who knows? It's just not happy. It's being a jerk. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and that may be a way to go. Valerie has hers hardwired for the streams. I may try that. I think I can. I don't even know where that plugs in on this laptop. I'll have to look into that because that may be something that I want to go with. I mean, the router is outside, or not in the studio, but I could have a cord go out there, I think. I'm going to have to look into that because this is turning. Yeah, Eric says it's hammer time. I think you are right. Yeah, it's, let's see, Selena said the Wi-Fi card thing in the laptop might be bumped partially out of place. It's a physical thing, maybe. Let's see, reset your router if it drops the Wi-Fi. Well, it drops the Wi-Fi constantly. I can't reset the router that often. And it's not, like, the Wi-Fi works with everything else. It's this laptop that keeps disconnecting, so I don't know. We'll have to see. And maybe just using, plugging, doing the hard hookup thing, whatever. Landline. No, that's not the right word. Not Wi-Fi would be the better way to go. So I'll have to look into that. But anyway, for the Smart Art Box, again, if you guys are interested in this, I've got all the information in the video description if that is something you're interested in. Normally, with Smart Art Box, you do get art supplies that are really cool, and you get to try cool things. I don't know what. I don't really have a good explanation for the office supply box this month. I mean, technically it's art, but it's not what I'm looking for. Like, dude, like, this is definitely not what I want in an art box. I didn't feel like this was one where I don't know. It just wasn't for me. But, oh, April says it's a less intrusive version of OBS. It takes up less resources. I will have to look into that. I will look into that. Thank you. So yeah, that's, but like I said, normally with Smart Art Box, you get real art supplies that are a lot of fun to play with that I super enjoy. This was just not one of them for me. For me, this was a big flop box month. And you're going to have that. I mean, whenever you have a subscription box, you're going to have some months that you absolutely love, and then you're going to have some months that are apparently office supplies. which is not normal. They've never done, I've never seen a box with that I didn't feel were art supplies before this one. But I do like my pretty journal, which you can kind of see over here. I like how that came out. I like it for just quick notes, but I am curious. I'm wondering, because just how frayed this is. Like, it's not even, it's not sealed at the edge. It's already falling apart, and I've hardly done anything with this. That is, I don't recommend running out and buying this journal. That's for sure. This is not a, I can't believe they are charging $20 for that. That's, you know, it's kind of funny too. It's getting dirty. Like, it's picking up so much more. I guess that's typical of white, but I mean, I use pastels in here, so I guess that makes sense that it would get smudged. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. Sorry about all the problems we had tonight. You know, it was a learning experience. I liked the setup, but I think I'll just use my webcam in place of the GoPro. I thought the GoPro might give us better quality, but I don't think that's what happened for us tonight. Maybe when I have, I don't know. So make sure to check out the moderators' channels. Links to their channels are in the video description, and I will see you guys next week. Not with a GoPro. Next week, I don't know what we're working on. I don't know how far. It may be airbrushing. I'm not sure. We'll see. Or maybe some of the final details. I don't know. Some of the airbrush thing I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing with colored pencil, so maybe we'll do that next week. I don't know. But I will see you guys next week. Thanks for sticking around through all the trouble I've had with tonight's stream, and I will see you guys next week. Oh, the thing to turn off the stream isn't even there now. Oh, here we go. No, it's back. Okay, bye.